Behold the mighty mouse, the super ultimate efficiency tool in xLights.
Here you go. This is my mouse, and I love my mouse. This is the MX Master 3S from Amazon. It's a Logitech. And by the way, Logitech has really good customer service. So I have their keyboard and mouse, and I love them both. No, I'm not endorsed or sponsored by them. I just wanted to say it. I don't know what I would do without a good mouse. As a sequencer, it's imperative I have something that's buttery smooth. But let's take a look at what the mouse means to you all. And primarily the right clicking, the right mouse button. That's this guy right here, the right one. Not the left. The left one you can grab stuff. We know that. But the right one, man, I don't know what it is, but xLights has so many drop-down menus and so many features and so many little hidden tidbits. It's hard to keep up, and there's even more coming. And we'll be talking about those in my next Monday Minutes. And if you're not comfortable using the right mouse button, it is time to get comfortable. We're going to dig in to the right mouse button functionality in the controllers, layout, and sequencing tab, and talk about some differences, why you may want to use right mouse button clicking and why you may not, depending on what you're trying to accomplish in xLights. Let's get going. Hey everybody, it's your pal Ron Howard from xTreme Sequences, bringing you another Monday Minutes, and this time it's all about the mighty mouse. That's right, the right-clicking mouse, that thing that we must keep our hands on and use so steadily in xLights to make our xLights journey so much better. I've been working with xLights, it's going on 9 years now, and I have learned over the years having a good mouse makes all the difference for my sequencing needs. But for the purpose of this tutorial, it's all about the right mouse button and what it means to you and why you should know some of these things to be as efficient as possible in xLights. Remember, there's more than one way to do any given thing in xLights, and we're going to take a look at these. Before we get going, smash that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It helps. Thank you so very, very, very much. Let's get going. Here we go. Controllers. In the controller tab, can I right click in this area? No, not really. You would think you could, but not really. What I can do is I can right click on this guy here, and if I wanted to insert more controllers I can, or insult if I wanted to insult a controller I could. Insert DMX. One of the things I like doing here is clicking on the active in xLights. Otherwise I'm always going over here to my cult controllers and clicking on the drop-down list and clicking on the xLights, xLights only. If you just do that here, you can do it real fast and you're done. Click save. So that's about all I use that for. Watch what happens. See, sometimes it will let you click in the background area here. It's hit and miss, and I don't know why. Let's go to our visualizer. Visualizer is a fantastic tool. I hope to see it continue evolving. I think it's capable of doing much, much more than it already is. If we right click in the area here, we can print, save it as CSV file. We can just remove all models from the controller. Don't care about that. If we right click on the actual port, again, we can do some of those things, remove all models. We can also set protocols for that port. Why would I want to set a protocol for that port? Well, perhaps port 1 is using a specific type of light, port 2 is using a different type of light, and maybe they're still connected. We can set those protocols and make them work correctly. Smart remote types, IDs, incrementing, remove all models, move all models to a port. I prefer just dragging and dropping. I think that works just well. So what can we do when we click on the actual model? Well, this is where we get into an area where we have to decide, is it better to do something from here by right-clicking on this, or do we want to do it from the layout? And let's talk about a perfect example of what is good to do here, and that is set brightness. So if I want to change this from 100 to 30%, I can do this here. It's done. Now I cannot grab multiple at one. Oh my gosh. Woo, doggy, do not try to grab multiple items in the visualizer or xLights will barf all over itself. Look, this happens. What do you do? What do you do? You open up xLights again and you just cross your fingers and your toes and you hope it doesn't happen. There we go. All right, here we go. I'm going to go back to my visualizer and boom, we're back at this. So anyway, don't try to hold down the command or control key and select multiple things. It doesn't work in here anyway. Let's talk about something you might not want to do in here by right clicking. The brightness, I'm all good with that. Set watercolor, that's all fine. But this change string count, this is an interesting one. And I'm glad that this is in here. I'm going to show you a really good use case for this, and I'm going to show you a bad use case right now. Bad use case is I want to change this 350 node selfie custom model to 2 strings. I do that here. What's going to happen? Okay, great. I got 2 strings. So this string. Hold on. See that? I don't like that. I'm going to come over here. What is this doing? Oh, this is saying string 1 is at 1, string 2 is at 350. No, I do not want to do that. No. So I'll come back over here, visualize, and what's nice is I can undo this. So I can click on this, right click, and I can go change string 1. Very good. We'll leave that at 350. Click this, go back to my layout, click on the model. It's 350 nodes. Is that right? Is that what we're looking at? 350 nodes. Half of 350 is 175. If you split it in the visualizer by right clicking on it, you're going to get an even count, 175. I don't want that. What I would love to see, and I'll get back to the visualizer in a second, is a way for me to tell this, good, I want 2 strings, and I want the second string to start at 201 and save. So now when I go back to my visualizer and I look at this, there's 200 pixels, then there's 150. If I were to right click on this and change the string count, it would be great based on the number of strings I'm asking for to have another little box down here saying, okay, for string 2, what node do you want it to be on? Then I can do everything here. Then right clicking totally reigns and I don't have to go back to my layout to mess with this. So anyway, just food for thought. Let's talk about an area where this works brilliantly on a mega tree. I have 28 strings here. I have 100 nodes per string, and then I get on one of these support calls, or I'm in the Zoom room, and someone goes, why are you putting 100 pixels on a string? You can put 200. What's your brightness level going to be? I don't know, 30. Oh, you can put 200 on a string, blah, 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 200 on a port. Well, this is very easy to fix in here. And it's actually faster to do it here than it is in the layout. Watch this, right click, change string count. I want this to be 14 instead of 28. That is half of it. You click OK. Now we have 200 nodes per output for a total of 14 outputs. We go back over here, we check our math, we go to the model, we look at it. Look at that. 14 strings, 200 nodes per string, 2 strands per string. It did the math for you. You didn't have to do any of this hogwash over here in the layout. So anyway, I think that's kind of a cool thing to have at your disposal in the visualizer to play around with. Of course, we can always be in here, right click and change the brightness. So if I don't want 100% and I want this to be 30%, I can do that all here. Something's kind of interesting when I do this on the tree, set my brightness. The question is, am I changing the brightness just on that port? Or am I changing that on the entire model? Well, let's find out, because I know the answer, and I think it's pretty clever. Although, someone's going to say, well, I want to be able to have complete control of those whatevers and put 30% on string 1 and 20% on string 2 and 10% on string 3. You need to have your head examined. All right, so what we find out here by changing it in the visualizer by right-clicking on it, that it in fact is making the entire model, all strings, 30% brightness. If you don't believe me, you can always come back to the visualizer and you can hover over this and you'll see brightness 30%, the next one 30%, 30%, 30%. Somebody on the developer team said, you know what? We can give them individual control of a model unless, or I should say individual control of an output unless it's one model. In which case, yeah, I think that sort of makes sense. Alrighty. Shall we get to our layout? Let's do this. Right click in the background here and we can do a lot of things. Save image, layout, import previews, models and groups. That's a little more advanced. I've done tutorials on that. We can reset. This is a big one. Get used to doing reset. You lose everything. You're like, where is it? Right click, reset, brings it right back. There you go. You gotta love that. We can right click on groups. We can add empty group. We can delete empty groups. If you ever have a model you put in here and you see all these submodel groups that you're like, why are those there? Well, when you delete a model, it doesn't necessarily delete the submodel groups. So you just right click anywhere in here, delete empty groups, and they will go away. Bye-bye. If you click on a model or submodel group or group, you have the ability to add empty groups, add selections to existing groups. Again, right-clicking is the key to engage in probably 90% of the activity in xLights, if not more, okay? If you right-click on, oh goodness, let's find something really interesting to right-click on. Well, certainly we have models that we can right-click on, and I would take hours to go through what all this can do. Somebody had a bright idea years ago to have a competition on how many features can we put in any given drop down in xLights, and somebody must have won because we have far too many. That seems like a good answer. Yeah, I guess better to have more than we need than not enough. I don't really know. I don't know. There's an awful lot of things, and I was having a chat with B. in our xTreme Sequences Syndicate call last Thursday, and we were both agreeing that, you know, a lot of things in xLights, it's sort of based on tribal knowledge. You know, through time, you learn all the ins and outs. When you come into this, you don't know nothing. And people who have been doing this for years that don't live in it, they forget everything and they haven't caught up with what's changed. That's just the way it goes in the hobby. All right, what else can we do? We did the right clicking. There's just, I mean, I think you get the point. Right clicking is everything in xLights. And finally, the sequencer. What can we do in the sequencer? Well, why don't we open up a sequence? I have a test sequence. Yeah, let's open up a test sequence. There we go. Boom. That looks amazing. Same thing with these windows. If you ever have something disappears, just right click, reset it. This is very true, certainly when you're working in 3D and you just push it into outer space. Just right click, reset, it'll all come back, okay? You can right click on layers. You can insert layers above, below, multiple layers. You can toggle models, show all effects. There's just a ton of things to do by right-clicking. You can right-click on an effect. You can get things to align. You can right-click, split things. You can split your timings. You can divide them. Tell them how many you want them to divide. Change the labels. Lock, unlock, copy, cut, paste, all that, or use your shortcut commands. When you have multiple things selected, we get into the world of bulk edit. What would I like to do with bulk edit? Oh, look what it did here. It changed all this stuff. I don't want this. See, this is what happens when you have OCD. You're like, no, 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 I can't deal with that. So that you end up having to go in here and change things around. And I've done this enough that I can get it done pretty fast. That is not what I wanted. Oh, it looks good enough. So when you have multiple things, what can I do with that? Well, you can right click and do bulk edit and change all your render styles. So again, right clicking is everything in xLights. So make sure you're doing exercises with your fingers if you're sitting down for hours and hours like myself. It's not uncommon for me to be sitting down here 5, 6, 7 hours at a stretch working in xLights on things. I recently created some submodels for somebody in one of the groups that said, hey, I've got this submodel from GE. Is there any other interesting submodels out there? I'm like, hold my beer, I'll go make some real quick. I haven't messed with that model, so yeah, let me go play with it. So there we are. Right click, right click, right click. It is everything in xLights. Have a decent mouse to make your journey in xLights a little smoother. See what I did there? A little bit of pun. Make it smooth and fun. It's not that expensive anyway, and the support from Logitech has been really, really stellar. All right, I'm Ron. That's all I've got for you. Be sure and smash that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, and we will catch you very soon with our next Monday Minutes. Coming to you sooner than you think. See ya.